All right, y'all, so we got in a collection recently that absolutely blew my mind. So much so that I had to put myself in front of the camera and I had to show off exactly what we got in, because this is an incredible punk, emo, indie rock collection. We don't usually get these types of records in all the time. So this is special and I wanted to show it off. So we got crates and crates of this stuff. It'll all be going out soon if it's not already out. You can also check our Discogs for a majority of these titles, because we are going to be listing some of them on our Discogs. You can find the Discogs somewhere here. All right, so first off, we have a classic, which is Julian Baker's Sprained Ankle. Great record, started in like the DIY indie punk scene. She's definitely much larger than that, joining Boy Genius with Phoebe Bridgers and Lucy Dacus. But to me, this is kind of where it all started, is this first LP, which is the Sprained Ankle LP. Really good. It's on purple vinyl. I think this is a 6th press. So next we got some Less Than Jake records. I just wanted to show these off, but we actually have like 5 or 6 of their catalog. But we have Losing Streak, which this is a reissue, but it's a 2nd pressing. We have a really early EP. I think it's like a 2000s reissue. Really hard to find. This one has a special place in my heart because I went to school in Gainesville, Florida, and this is where Less Than Jake is from Gainesville. Really great stuff here if you're into the fest scene, if you are just into punk and DIY punk. Like, this record definitely connects all those things. This next band, not a lot of people know too much about them. It's $6 in our shop, but Run Forever Settling. This is awesome emo. Like, you cannot go wrong with this. It's off of Tiny Engines, which was an incredible like emo indie record label, started in the DIY space. Some of their bands have blown up a little bit. And we have it on this insanely cool 2nd press. I think only like a few hundred of them were made, but it's this really awesome marble. Cannot go wrong with this record. Definitely check it out and come on into the shop to pick it up. We got Fontaine CC's Romance, just a black copy, but great modern album. Came out in 2024. Definitely recommend. Ooh, almost fell. Dowsing. This is a incredible emo band. They've put out, I think, like 4 or 5 records so far. This one is their 1st or 2nd record. But what's cool about this is that it is on blue vinyl, so it matches the cover perfectly. But yeah, quintessential 4th wave emo. So we're a shop in Virginia, and we love showing off other Virginian bands. We have an extensive locals collection. This is a band called Sundials. They are from Richmond, Virginia. I don't think that they're a band anymore, but this is incredible emo. Also, like, in that time period of the 4th wave emo, early 2010s into mid 2010s. But this is some really great, like, whiny, but somewhat twinkly, very raw sounding, and it comes on this really cool marble gray vinyl. You cannot beat this for $7. Like, this is a great get, a great band all around. They're on Asian Man Records, or at least this came out on Asian Man Records. This is a 1st press, but either way, Sundials, When I Couldn't Breathe, highly recommend. Over to Pennsylvania with Sprainerd. Sprainerd is really awesome. Another emo band from the early 2010s or into like the mid 2010s. They toured a lot with like Modern Baseball. I think a lot of the bands that came out of the Philly scene last decade. And if you like good vocals, do not listen to this band, because this is filled with very raw, pretty intense vocals that when paired with like twinkly emo or Midwest emo, these vocals shine, but to layman's ears, maybe not. Another just duo of incredible records. This is Somos. Very tragic story with this band in that they were on the up and up with this record, Prison on a Hill, and unfortunately one of their members passed away suddenly and they had to stop being a band, and it really sucked. But they left us with 3 incredible records. These are 2, so this is the 1st record and this is their last record. This 1st record, Temple of Plenty, this is incredible. I mean, look at this. This is insane. This is awesome. How cool this color is. So this is a 2nd press on, I think, out of 200 or so records or copies. But yeah, this is another Tiny Engines band. So it's another one of those emo bands on a small label from the 2010s that made incredible music, had a personal tragedy happen to him, had to shut the band down for a while. They did tour in 2025, which was awesome to see them. But at the same time, you know, I don't know if they'll be touring again, but it's great to be able to find their records in the wild. You never ever see these records come into the shop. So this is really sweet to get. And what's really cool, one of the big reasons why I'm mentioning a lot of these records is that they were all released on DIY labels. They were all released on very small record labels that either became larger labels later on, you know, over like a decade's worth of releasing music, or they just went defunct. But the music itself is really good. And these vinyl copies, you really only have like less than 1,000 made. And that was it. And there's gonna be no represses because the band, they don't have the money to repress it, or they just have no interest in repressing it. So finding a lot of these like DIY punk, emo, indie records is cool because it's like, you'll never see that unless you pay up on Discogs, which we're not gonna do. Husker Du. So Husker Du is like the marriage of indie rock and hardcore punk, and it's kind of the start of this sound. And so this is like where Dinosaur Jr. comes from. It's where like Foo Fighters even come from. So this band in particular is really awesome. This is an original. We have a couple other originals, and yeah, you don't really see these all that often. So it's cool that they were able to come through the shop. This is a big one. If you don't know this band, you don't know them, and that sucks. But this is Hotelier. Home Like No Place Is There. This is their second LP, arguably their best LP, and you don't ever find this. They repressed this, I think, in 2022, maybe 2023. That's sold out. These records are long sold out. This is an emo record that is essential to the 2010s DIY scene, especially the mid 2010s. I mean, they toured on this. This thing is what is now considered to be an absolute classic in the genre. This is on black vinyl. I think this is a second pressing. Any pressings of this, buy them, get them, because you're not gonna see it again. And I imagine as soon as we put this out on the floor, it's gonna sell. So Home Like No Place Is There by the Hotelier, incredible record, highly recommend. All right, this next trio of records is from another, I mean, arguably the person who started the third or fourth wave. I always get the two confused, so don't crucify me. Into It Over It has been around for quite some time. Every single record they put out is 10 out of 10, and we have 3 of them right now. So this Proper, if you don't know this record, talk about a fusion of pop punk, indie, and emo. This came out in 2011, so the start of the 2010s, so it's like really like the start of that sound, and this is pivotal for a lot of bands that came after Into It Over It. I mean, to me, Proper, very pivotal, but some people would say Intersections is actually more pivotal because this is what really made their sound now sound like what they sound like, if that makes sense. Anyways, I mean, this is really cool because it's got a die cut cover. This is on, I think, Cloudy or Coke Bottle Clear, and it's not going for much, unfortunately. $6 in the shop. So if you are trying to expand your emo or indie collection or sections in your collection, you cannot go wrong with Into It Over It. And then lastly, from Into It Over It, we have their incredible Standards by Into It Over It. It's mathy in a way that like the tempos change on a dime, all within like this emo indie sound, but the way that they're playing the music is just very special. And so all 3 of these records are incredible releases. They're all under 20 bucks, 2 of them under $10. So you can't go wrong. And there've been limited represses of these records. So they're getting harder to find, even though they're like cheap records. Another one, this is an absolute emo classic. Whenever, If Ever by The World Is a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die. I mean, this is a pristine copy. It's hard to find because a lot of these records were purchased at shows. So they were in a touring van inside of a box given to somebody. And then that person had to either like know that they were collecting records and like kept these things safe, or they just didn't. And they were like, when I was in college, and they just got shoved into a shelf or stacked somewhere. And then you get corner dings, you get seam splits, you know, you get warpage, but a lot of these records were in pristine condition, and this one for sure is. But Whenever, If Ever definitely takes you on a journey. It's got this iconic cover of this guy jumping off a cliff, and this was the first record that I listened to, The World Is a Beautiful Place. It just completely captured me. I didn't know that the music that was coming out in the 2010s in the punk or in like that emo indie scene, the DIY scene, could sound so expansive and large and be like as like loud and powerful as this was. This band really puts on a good show and really makes a lot out of the genre. This is on Coke Bottle Clear, kind of matches the cover. I think this is a second press. This is also on the Top Shelf label. Top Shelf Records, really cool record label to find a lot of like modern indie and older emo acts. A lot of great bands have been on and off that label, but definitely check out that label if you like this sound. All right, we got some ska with We Are the Union. This is very DIY because the cover is its own custom fold out like this, which some bands have opted to do these fold covers because they're cheaper to make. So it's a little bit easier on the bands to get them made. And what's awesome about this is the splatter. I mean, this is probably a random color, but this is, I mean, so beautiful. And this is just really quintessential ska punk. And finally, some modern pop punk emo, which is Anxious, Little Green House. Anxious kind of came out of nowhere. I guess if you knew, you knew. I didn't really know until recently, but you could tell this is kind of where emo is going, where it's marrying more pop punk elements into the genre while keeping that like raw, like noodly, twinkly guitar tone and just very like fast. They have another record out called Bambi, which is also very good, but this Little Green House, this is the one that blew them up. Highly recommend. So we got plenty more of these records. They're all going to be going out over the next few days. By the time you see this, they should be on our Discogs. They should be out in the shop. So come on through Mobius Record Shop. We have plenty more to put out outside of just punk and emo. We put out lots of metal, put out as much jazz as we can, a lot of rock, like modern indie, modern pop. All of that you can find in our used bins as well as our new bins because we are mainly new shop. We want to start doing more of these types of videos when we get collections like this that we're just really excited about. Be on the lookout for more of these videos. Follow us at Mobius Record Shop on our Instagram, on our TikTok, and you can subscribe right here, Mobius Record Shop on YouTube. Thank you so much.